The African people according to the Bible. A legacy of global contribution. Did you know that the Bible, one of the oldest books in the world, contains valuable references about Africans, which shed light on the true origin of the African people? It is surprising to discover that the Bible not only mentions the history of the origins of the African people, but also reports the presence of African kings and queens. In this video, we will delve into the curiosities that reveal the biblical ancestors of Black and African people. Equality in the Bible. The irrelevance of skin color in the Bible. We can safely say that there are characters with black skin in the Bible. However, the Bible does not specifically identify any people with black skin, since skin color has no relevance to the Bible's fundamental message. With God, there is no partiality, and skin color does not matter. Before God, we are all equal. Now, let's explore where dark-skinned people come from, according to the Bible. Let's start in Acts chapter 17, verse 26, which says, "From one he made all peoples, to dwell on all the face of the earth." With this verse, we understand that all people in the world are of the same descent and, therefore, form a single family. We should not discriminate against anyone because of the color of their skin. Origins according to the Bible. The common origin of humanity. The story of humanity begins in the Garden of Eden, where our first parents, Adam and Eve, lived. After disobeying God, they were expelled from the Garden of Eden. The children of Adam and Eve were born and began to populate the earth. They spread and formed families, tribes, and communities, giving rise to different cultures and civilizations. And after more than 1,000 years, the flood arrived, in which all humanity perished except Noah and his family, who were saved by God. It was a cataclysmic event that marked a pivotal point in human history. This story involves not only the salvation of Noah and his family, but also the preservation of all forms of animal life in the ark. Repopulating the earth after the flood. The three lineages of Noah. After the flood, Noah's family had the responsibility of repopulating the earth. This family was made up of Noah, his wife, and their three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with their respective wives. Therefore, there is no racial distinction in the origin of dark-skinned people in the Bible. All human beings share a common ancestry and are part of a single family, without discrimination based on skin color. The book of Genesis states that all humanity descends from Noah and his family. Verse 32 of chapter 10 of Genesis highlights that from the three sons of Noah, the people spread out over the earth. It reminds us that regardless of our skin color or ethnic background, we share a common ancestry that dates back to Noah's family. The descendants of Ham. The importance of Cush in the biblical narrative. Returning to chapter 10 of Genesis, we find the genealogies of the families that derive from the origin of the nations descended from Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. In this context, it is fascinating to delve deeper into Ham's lineage, specifically in verse 5 of Genesis chapter 10, which mentions that Ham had 4 sons, among whom Misraim and Canaan stand out. Let's explore this genealogy in more detail and understand its meaning within the biblical narrative. Ham, one of Noah's sons, plays an important role in biblical genealogy, which is essential for understanding the diversity of nations descended after the flood. Chapter 10 of Genesis traces the lineages of Ham and his sons, revealing the origins of several nations. Among the sons of Ham, Misraim and Canaan stand out, who played important roles in the later stories of the Bible. Among the sons of Ham, it is important to direct our attention to Cush. Cush is a highly relevant figure in the biblical narrative, and his descendants have had a lasting impact on history. The Bible reports that Cush had 6 sons, Seba, Abila, Sabda, Rama, Sabtek, and Nimrod. We will explore the legacy of Cush and his descendants, with emphasis on Nimrod, who is considered the first powerful man on earth. Cush's role in biblical history. The journeys of Cush and his descendants. It is interesting to note that in verse 32 of the same chapter, it is reported that Cush and his descendants were among those nations who spread across the earth after the flood. Biblical studies highlight the importance of Cush as a main ancestor, perhaps alongside his brother Mizraim, in the regions where some of his descendants settled. This fact refutes any erroneous attempt to apply curses that God did not place on Cush's descendants. The Bible and race. Refuting racial curses in the Bible. It is crucial to highlight that the Bible makes no mention of the race or color of Cush's descendants, making any association with specific ethnic groups inconvenient. The emphasis in biblical genealogy lies on the importance of characters and their descendants in the history of humanity, regardless of their racial origin. Therefore, we cannot use this text as a basis for judging or establishing any type of racial discrimination. This chapter, therefore, offers us insight into the origins of nations, their family relationships, and their journeys after the flood, promoting a deeper understanding of biblical history and the diverse cultures that developed over time. The figure of Nimrod in the Bible. Nimrod, among the sons of Cush, stands out as a notable character. The Bible mentions him as the first powerful man on earth. His skill and influence left an indelible mark on history. This character is often associated with various regions, including Nubia, Arabia, and other areas of the Middle East. His notoriety is evidenced by numerous statues and engravings dating back hundreds of years that represent him, emphasizing his black features. However, the story of his descendants is shrouded in mystery. The journey of Nimrod's descendants and the impact of the Cushites on history. According to some scholars, most of Nimrod's descendants apparently migrated south after the dispersal at the Tower of Babel, an event that played a key role in the spread of different ethnic groups throughout the world. The question of the route these descendants took in their possible migration to Africa is an area of debate among researchers. One of the theories suggests that they could have reached Africa by crossing the Arabian Peninsula and, later, the Strait of Babel, settling in southern regions of the continent. Other scholars have argued that these populations initially settled in Africa before moving into Arabia. Nimrod and his descendants are often associated with the land of the Cushites, which roughly corresponds to what is now Sudan, a region south of Egypt. This region is notably known for its rich historical and cultural legacy, and the Cushites are often referred to as Ethiopians in some biblical references. The identification of these people with the land of the Cushites and their possible connection with what is now Ethiopia is an area of great interest to researchers. Importantly, the history of migration and settlement of ancient people is complex and often based on limited evidence. Therefore, although theories exist and pretend to suggest possible migratory routes and settlements, there is no consensus on the exact movements of Nimrod's descendants after the dispersal at the Tower of Babel. These questions continue to be objects of study and research in the field of archaeology and history. References in the Bible about skin color. The story of Miriam, Aaron, and the Cushite wife of Moses. In Numbers, chapter 12, we find an intriguing passage in which Miriam and Aaron, Moses' sister and brother, murmured against him because of his Cushite wife. This passage is fundamental to reflect the presence of the Cushites in the biblical narrative. The Cushites were a people known for their dark skin and distinctive culture. This story highlights that cultural and racial differences were evident even among the leaders of the people of Israel. This passage also teaches us the importance of accessibility and respect for cultural differences, as God rebukes Miriam and Aaron for criticizing Moses for his choice of wife. This highlights the message that before God, everyone is equal, regardless of their origin, minorities, or skin color. Jeremiah and the comparison of the Ethiopian who changes his skin. Jeremiah, in chapter 13, verse 23, makes an intriguing comparison when he mentions the Ethiopian who changes his skin. This passage is often interpreted in different ways, but it is essential to highlight that the Bible makes no statements about the superiority of one race over another. Jeremiah's metaphor can be seen as a symbolic representation of the difficulty of a person changing their nature or character. This is not a statement about skin color, but rather about resistance to change. Thus, the passage highlights the importance of looking at the inside of a person and not judging them based on external characteristics. The multiracial origins of Egypt. The Cushites, historically associated with the land of Cush, which roughly corresponds to present-day Sudan, are also known as Ethiopians due to the fact that their inhabitants have sunburned faces. Nubia has always maintained strong political and military ties with Egypt, often in alliance with it. At a certain period in history, around 747 BC, the Cushites conquered Egypt and established a new dynasty of black pharaohs, who ruled for about a century. This marked a period of great splendor for Egypt, thanks to the rule of the black pharaohs. However, this dynasty was eventually defeated by the Assyrian Empire, and the black pharaohs returned to their homeland, Nubia, present-day Sudan, where they continued to rule the Kushan Empire for another 100 years. Therefore, the Cushites and their descendants played an important role in the history of Egypt and Nubia, highlighting the rich cultural and ethnic diversity present in the ancient civilizations of North Africa. Last Black Pharaoh. A curious fact is that the Bible mentions the name Taraka or Tarkus, considered the last Black Pharaoh. He played a crucial role in assisting King Hezekiah when Sennacherib, the king of Syria, attacked Jerusalem. This reference can be found in the second book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 9. Furthermore, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 18, we can see that the Cushites or Ethiopians were notable warriors. Isaiah described the Cushites as a people of great stature and lustrous skin, being a fearsome and vigorous nation. Even the historian Herodotus reported that Ethiopians were known to be the tallest and most handsome men. On the other hand, the Israelites believed that they were closer to God due to their cultural and biological heritage. However, the prophet Moses reminded them that they had no special privileges before Jehovah and that they were equivalent to the Ethiopians. Reading the book of Amos in chapter 9, verse 7, we see the statement, "Are you not to me, O children of Israel, as the children of the Ethiopians? Says the Lord." Currently, the Cushites are an Afro-Asian ethnic group located in Cyprus of Africa, which includes Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, and part of the Sudanese Red Sea coast. They are known to speak Cushitic languages. As an additional note in the Bible, there are other references to Africa, such as the land of Cush, Sheba, Libya, and Egypt. However, there is no consensus on whether these terms apply to black people, as these also had white statements. It is important to clarify that there is a lot of discussion about the race of the ancient Egyptians. According to biblical history, the Egyptians share a lineage with the Cushites, as both are descendants of Cush. Although the idea that the Egyptians were unquestionably white prevailed for a long time, some scholars have argued that the Egyptians were in fact black. Others believe that only the 25th dynasties were they actually black. A prominent Egyptologist maintains that the texts and images bequeathed by the Egyptians clearly speak of a multiracial society. Egypt, located on the border between Africa and the Middle East, was a center of racial mixing that occurred over centuries. The richness of African heritage in the Bible. This exploration of the Bible reveals surprising facts about the history of the origins of the African people. It is essential to understand the context and correctly interpret the scriptures to avoid unfounded stereotypes and prejudices. The Bible and other historical records can provide valuable information about complex racial and cultural relationships throughout history. The Bible reveals to us the diversity and richness of African history, undeniably showing that the African people played a significant role in the formation of civilization and global culture. By sharing this knowledge, we always foster respect, tolerance, and appreciation for the rich cultural heritage of the African people. To conclude this video, I would like to convey an important message. Skin color is not of great importance to God, as He is available to the heart. For this reason, it is imperative that we never allow ourselves to give in to racism. Instead of focusing on the color of a person's skin, we should look into their soul, recognizing the equality and dignity of all. So, what did you think of today's video? Did you already know any of these biblical facts about the origin of the black race and its importance according to the Bible? What impressed you most? I hope this video was helpful. If you have anything to add, please share it with us in the comments section. And if you liked this video and haven't subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss any of the intriguing videos we post every week. And if you want to learn a little more, be sure to click on one of these videos we are suggesting for you. Remember, to know the past is to understand the present and prepare for the future. Until the next video.